We are all aware that Bitcoin halving is round the corner. So today we're going to be looking at what this might potentially mean for the market. We're also going to be taking a look at the global perspective of Bitcoin, looking globally as well as locally. And we're going to be looking at our recent trades, seeing how they've performed and what the prospects might be looking into the week. But before we get started, just to let all of you guys know, all of the followers following this channel at the moment, we are currently doing a nice giveaway for anyone who follows the channel and follows myself on all social media platforms, YouTube, Discord, whatever it is. So this is my very own trade journal that I use to document all my trades. Helps me sort of plan, helps me understand my thinking framework, my habits, my good habits, my bad habits, and also it gives me a nice equity curve so I can track my performance day by day, week by week, month by month. So if you want this, if you want to use your very own trade journal, just drop a follow, drop me a message, and I will send this directly to you. Okay? So let's get straight into the action. So at the moment, lots of people on YouTube and lots of Bitcoin followers and Bitcoin influencers are talking about the Bitcoin halving. Now that's coming up. That's projected to come in around April, which is next month. We are in March, and there are approximately 4 days left in March, which is a key milestone. And we're going to be talking about this shortly. But Bitcoin halving, what does it mean, and what could it potentially do to price? Well, it's very basically, Bitcoin halving is where the reward, it's basically programmed into the algorithm for Bitcoin, where the reward of mining Bitcoin is cut in half. Now that simply reduces the number of Bitcoins, new Bitcoins being created, and usually that results in a deflationary effect on Bitcoin, which means historically it's been associated with price rising. All right. Now let's see what's happened in the past. So if we look at the first bull cycle, the Bitcoin halving happened right around here, and we had that rally up, and then it was about a 3,000% up rally up, and then we had a similar thing in the last bull cycle, all right, and that rallied up. We had 1,000% increase. That's judging from this break of structure all the way up to that swing high. Now we're looking for it to happen for the fourth time, and let's see how far we go. And are we going to go far up, or are we going to have a different reaction when the halving actually happens? All right, so we're going to be looking at that. But this end of month season is a very, very key point to discuss. That being, if we look at the monthly structure, many people are thinking, right, where is Bitcoin going? It's kind of playing in this all-time high at the moment. Is it going to break through? Is it going to go to new all-time highs? And are we going to be, in the middle of a new bull run? Well, the answer lies in this monthly candle. So if we take a look at what Bitcoin has been up to so far, historically, Bitcoin has printed a high, it's printed a low, it's wicked the top, it's done an SFP at the top, and then it's broken the structure downwards, and it's retraced. But this retracement leg did not print a lower high. This retracement leg actually went further than most. 99% of people were calling for this retracement, including myself. We're calling for this retracement perhaps around here. But this, we had these bullish trend bars that carried on pushing the price of Bitcoin up, and we did not get a reaction. So now what does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, it means the all-time highs, or prior all-time high, lies around there, around 69,000, just above 69,000, okay? And Bitcoin has currently approached that level. It's wicked above that level. However, it has not closed above that level on the monthly. This is the monthly bar. And we have about 3 to 4 days left of this month. It's trying to pump up to close above that, that bar. Now, if it does close above that prior all-time high, this is quite bullish for Bitcoin. But in the case that this monthly bar does not close above that prior high, that could potentially initiate what I call a range deflection. What is a range deflection? It's whereby we have a range, we have our price action, it sets higher highs and higher lows, it comes down to set lower lows and lower highs. Now it comes down again, approaches that high, wicks it, doesn't close above it, wicks it, and then breaks structure bearish, rotating all the way down to the bottom of the range. So is this what we may observe, in the next few weeks? So we do need to keep our eyes peeled, and we need to be watching the monthly as well as the weekly to see what's going on. So if we take a look at the weekly chart as well, just to understand what's really happening, if we look at our weekly market structure, don't forget, before we get a rotation, in the case we are going to get a rotation, before we get a rotation on the monthly structure, where do we need to see that rotation first? Well, we need to see that rotation on the weekly. Before we get it on the weekly, we need to see that rotation on the 4 hour. Before we get it on the 4 hour, we need to see that rotation on the 15 minutes. So these lower time frames, they kind of build and create the higher time frames. So that means it's imperative that we look at the lower time frames for Bitcoin to predict what could potentially happen. If we look at our weekly structure looks like this. Let me do this in a thicker color so you can see what's going on. Our weekly structure looks like this. I'm going to have it in red. Actually, you know what? Let's go green. Our weekly structure looks like this. We've got high, 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 low, high, 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 low, higher, high, higher, low, and whoa, higher, high, all the way to the top. All right. Now, in terms of our weekly structure, we are still bullish. Why are we still bullish? We're still bullish because this is the last weekly level. This is our last high low. So until we break this level on the weekly, we are still bullish. Now, in the case that this weekly bar we are at the moment, tags the top of this bar, then this would be the last weekly high low. In that case, this will move up there, meaning a break in structure to change bearish on the weekly could happen anywhere here. Okay, so that's it for the weekly. Let's see what's going on the daily. Well, on the daily, the chances are, apologies for these charts. They do look so messy. I'm just going to clean this up for you guys briefly. Get rid of some of this. Yeah, get rid of some of this. All right, that's better. So what we have here is the daily chart. And on the daily, if we look at the market structure from that last leg, we have higher high, higher low. We have, on the daily, it's gone all the way up as well. So again, on the daily level has not changed from last week. It hasn't changed. This is still the place to break on the daily in order to change market structure. Okay, so I'm going to change the color of the daily so we can see that visibly, make that purple. So on the daily, that's still the place to break, and that's coming in at 50,200 and to about 278. Again, like I said, if we do tag this level here, if we tag this level up here, then yes, that means this becomes the last lower high low for the daily to break. All right, okay, cool. Now we've got the daily, nothing's really changed. We've got the weekly, nothing really changed. Next, we have to look at the 4 hour. All right, so if we look at our 4 hour market structure, our 4 hour structure looks like this: high, 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 low, high, high. And it comes and wicks the bottom and then goes up again and breaks structure up there. All right, and then we've got the high, high, and then bang. And the thing is, on the 4 hour, we have officially broken structure on the 4 hour. So we break structure on the 4 hour. Okay, we come, we create a lower high, we create a lower low, we create a lower high, we create another lower low, and then what happens next? All right, so this is the last lower high, on this 4 hour downtrend. We were thinking, cool, could this be the start of that rotation to change market structure on the daily? But then bang, the 4 hour broke structure again bullishly. Now what does that mean? That means, all right, we may be looking to rotate back to this all-time high. Okay, that's exactly what we were thinking. So what does that mean for Bitcoin? On the 4 hour, it does look as though, we have changed market structure bullish again. All right, we have changed market structure bullish. And, we've got some market structure here, which it's not the nicest looking structure, all right. But I think what happens here is going to be very, very, very indicative of what Bitcoin wants to do next. Is it looking to rotate up, to drop down, which is what I want it to do? That will make for the juiciest short ever. If we get a second entry on these highs, that would be amazing. Or, are we looking to simply just kind of die off here, break structure, and then continue further down? All right, so we do need to keep our eyes peeled for that. So we are waiting to see what the 4 hour tells us. All right, are we going to break structure bearish again, or are we going to carry on and tag these all-time highs? As we said last stream, we've got all this liquidity that's been taken out, that's been taken out, that's been taken out, this has been taken out. We do have some stuff left over here before we retag that all-time high. All right, so that's what it looks like in terms of the global perspective. We're waiting to see what the 4 hour does, followed by the daily, just so we know what's going to happen on the weekly and the monthly. All right, so the bulls out there, it's worth being aware that we aren't quite as bearish as it may seem on YouTube. However, we do need to keep our eyes peeled, watching what's going on. So now let's take a look at our recent trades. Let's see how we've been getting on in the trade journal community / channel. So our last trade was we were looking at the following setup. So I posted this on the 25th of March, and I said my next play was trade number 1. We broke market structure bullishly on the 4 hour. So we were saying we're looking to get a reaction. Is that the trade I'm looking for? Bear with me 1 minute. I said we are looking, yes, I believe so. No, it looks different today. Anyways, I said we're looking to get a reaction where? We're looking to get a reaction of the top of our range. We said we're going to treat this as a range, yeah? And this being our range low, and this being our range high. And we're going to actually, this being our range high, this being our range low. And we're going to look to get a reaction off that zone for short number 1. Short number 2, we said we had a 24-minute supply zone above us, which could give us a nice juicy reaction. And I'm sure some of you are aware that that's actually, what we're seeing at the moment. That's actually what happened. And trade number 3, we said we're looking for R1 model play, a range deflection from the all-time high. All right, so let's just look at the market. Let's look at the charts and let's see what transpired. Okay, so if we go to the lower time frame, let's take a look at the 24-minute. Let's just see. We're going to use the bar replay tool just to take us further back to where we were before all that has happened. So we were around here. So let's start the narrative. So obviously we've changed market structure. We've set this old range demand, all right? And this is a confluent area because we are looking to add to our long in the case that we come down here. It's not just an old range demand, it's confluent with our value area high. It's also a breaker block, and that is quite a juicy level that we're looking out for to enter our continuation play. So let's see what happened on the 12 minutes. So we set that high. As soon as we set that high, we come down, and as we come down, cool, we're waiting. We do have our range, as we said on stream. So we said we're not getting in on the first entry, but we could enter on the second entry. Remember, the first entry is a lower probability play, but the second entry is a higher probability play, as I always say on this channel. And if you're new to the channel, just feel free to have a look at the prior videos, and it will be very clear. All right, so what happened here? Well, let's see exactly what we said happened. What do I mean by that? Well, we set our first high, and then we rotated. We set our second high, and guess what happened after that? We rotated down, all right? Now, what was Market Cypher doing? Market Cypher was giving us the juiciest bearish divergence. What's a bearish divergence? As price rallies up, momentum and money flow diverges and goes down, okay? So that's exactly what we saw, and that would have been a nice juicy short. So if you are on the channel and you managed to enter that trade, remember to put your profits on the profit wall in Discord. Discord is great for us to see and celebrate each other. All right, so that was trade number 1. Let's see how that played out. Was it a juicy trade or was it just a meh? All right, so it was good. Our target was hit. It did come down to the bottom of the range. That is the target for that trade. Usually I'll take 50% at the middle and 50% towards the end. So that was a decent trade. All right, Cool. Now let's carry on. Let's see what's happened. So now we've got our range. Okay. Price rallies down. We're going to get rid of this. Price rallies down, of course, and price prints are lower at the moment. And we're saying, right, we do need to break this structure if we're going to break down from this range. Because in the case that we break structure bearish, we could look on that retracement and swing that all the way down, perhaps onto the zone to swing it back up. All right. But that didn't quite happen. To the best of my knowledge, that didn't quite happen. Price decided, you know what? I'm going to do what ranges do. What do ranges do? Well, if you think about it, if you have a range, if this is your range, ranges like to rotate. They like to rotate up, they like to rotate down. So ranges do this. They go up, they oscillate down, they oscillate up, they oscillate down, they oscillate up. So that seems to be what this range decided to do, because it kind of accumulated here for a bit and then said, you know what, now I've got the juice, I'm going to head back up. Okay, so that's what this range did. And remember what we said in the channel. What was trade number 2? Trade number 2 was a reaction from that 24-minute supply zone. Let's see, did we get a reaction from that 24-minute supply zone? So our supply zone, 24-minute supply zone, is right around there. So let's see what happens. So if we play that back, it's always good to go back on your trade and just analyze your decision making, and just make sure you are journaling your trade, as I always say. All right. Now this was a crazy move. It was a crazy move because I'm not sure many traders in the world would have caught this one, because it happened so quickly. So you can see price kind of rallied up, created a high low over here. In terms of our market structure looks like this. If we're looking at that final leg, that could be one version of market structure. There's another version that has a last high low over there. But that reaction was rapid. Look at that. It simply goes boom up and boom down. So I'm not sure many people would have got into that trade. The only reason you may have entered that one and caught that high was maybe if you had a limit order. But like I say, I wouldn't always recommend having a limit order because it's gambling. Having a limit order is gambling. Make sure you wait for your confirmation. And if we were waiting for our confirmation, we would not have been able to enter that trade until this level was taken. All right. So let's see if we had an entry despite that. So yes, we had a break bearish. That break was vicious. That was a rapid break. All right. We did break bearish. Then we did retrace back up. All right. So that's our bearish break. If you think about it, that's our bearish break. That's our BOS. We come back up. Sorry, this is just a bit messy today. Forgive me. We come back up into our old zone, and then are we going to flush down? So if you were following market structure to the T, you'd be looking to enter that trade right around here, right? So let's see what happened. Yeah, I mean, it would have given us a decent trade. Not crazy profits, but still a good trade regardless, right? Let's see, did it go further down? Yeah, so you'll still be in that trade from there, and right now, perhaps you might have moved your stop loss to entry, removed some profit, but you'd be watching the charts to see what happens next, all right? So that's where we are. So how successful were our trades? Trade number 1, success. Trade number 2, success, and we're still watching it, all right? So if you want to carry on getting more trades like this, more setups like this, make sure you follow the channel. And all we do over here is Bitcoin. We go over Bitcoin every day of the week, Monday to Friday, making sure that we stay current with the market. All right. So now, what am I looking out for as far as my next trade? Man, I've got my eyes on this all-time high. Honestly, I've noticed this level here, getting a rotation here, will be the creme de la creme. I'm actually not so happy that it looks like we're getting, some sort of distribution over here to rally down. I'm not ready for this rally down. I want higher. I want price to come up here so we can get a juicy short that can take us all the way down. All right. But regardless, we do have our zone here still. We can look to rotate off the zone like previously. As well as that, we can look to react off this top. Okay. That's another area we're looking out for. And as far as our local levels go, well, we've tagged this 24-minute zone. That's kind of the only zone before we reach that all-time high. So in the case that we do sort of conjure up the strength to break above, I'm looking at that all-time high, looking to sweep that down. All right. Well, there we have it. If you found this useful, educational in any way, shape, or form, don't forget to hit the follow button, and I will see you tomorrow.